Are you still trying to squeeze into spaces that can't hold who you're becoming? Well, let me help you. Stop. Stop shrinking yourself just to fit in. Look, we've all been there, staying in that job, that relationship, or a mindset that no longer serves you just because it's comfortable. It's familiar. And sometimes familiar feels safer than stepping into unknown. But there's a truth here. When you've outgrown a space, staying small doesn't serve you. It actually just keeps you stuck. And today, we're going to talk about how to stop shrinking to fit in and how to step boldly into a bigger space that's calling you forward, that's calling you to more. So let's go. Now, welcome back to the Emanuel Dr. EG3 podcast, where we explore beginnings, meaningful growth, and taking action, even when it's messy. I'm Emanuel George the third, but around here you can call me Dr. EG3. I'm a high performance coach, teacher, speaker, and author of the book No Fear in Asking. And I help high performers, young professional, people like you navigating big transitions to step boldly into their purpose, discover who they're becoming, and build lives of meaning and impact. And just like you, I'm on this journey too. And each week we dive into topics that challenge you to step into your next season with clarity, with confidence, and with courage. So if you're ready to stop playing small and embrace the bigger space that's calling you, you're in the right space and the right place. Now, I want to take a moment when I was kind of standing at this exact crossroads. I remember I just had moved a pharmacy manager to my third location, and I was in a pretty good place. On paper, it was everything that I'd worked for. I had influence, authority, I had the opportunity to make bigger impact. But if I'm honest with you guys, deep down, I was restless. Something just felt off. I was no longer challenged the way that I used to be. I remember moving from store to store was exciting, was energetic. I remember just being at the top of the game, but it's like that movement was no longer what it once was. Wasn't giving me that satisfaction. I had mastered this pharmacy manager role, and while I was still showing up every day, I felt as though my voice felt smaller. Felt as though I wasn't contributing at the level that I knew that I could. And it was really because the space that I was in was no longer big enough to be where I was growing. And that's the scary part. When you've outgrown a space, the next move isn't always obvious. So I had two choices: shrink myself to fit back into the place that I had clearly outgrown, or step boldly into a bigger space where I wasn't fully ready, but where I knew growth could happen because I actually had space to grow. And I chose growth. I stepped out, I put myself out there. I applied to multiple positions across the country, not just in the city that I was living. And what happened next? New doors opened. Had some interviews across the country, new opportunities, new potential for impact, but then ultimately new growth. And the rest is history because obviously, well, not obviously, I guess, got the promotion, which started a cascade that led me to where I am today in this room with this microphone talking to you. But none of that would have happened. None of this would have happened if I would have stayed in that space that was obviously too small for who I was becoming. So here are here's how you know that maybe you've outgrown a space. There are three signs that should let you know that it's time for you to move forward. But I'm going to also give you three deeper reflections for you to use to determine your next steps. Now, here's the first one: your voice feels smaller. But this is what it looks like. This is the sign. So I'm tapping into my healthcare brain. So I want you to know here's the sign and the symptom that your voice feels smaller. You've noticed that you have stopped speaking up. You're not talking in meetings and conversations and collaborations like you used to. Your ideas feel as though they've hit a ceiling or they feel stifled. Your contribution feels diminished, like no matter what you do, it just doesn't have the same chutzpah that it had once before. Now, here's the reflection that I want you to have. Where are you intentionally holding your voice back? You find yourself not interested, wanting to speak up. What messages are you silencing just to make other people feel comfortable? Where are you holding your tongue? Now, obviously, I'm not talking about um, where it's the vitreousness of the tongue or your frustration. I'm talking about where is it that you are choosing not to give your message because you feel it won't be received. So the action you have after reflection is I want you to speak up, whether it's just sharing an idea, advocating for yourself, or saying what you've been holding back respectfully, of course, right? Because if it's a scenario where this is with your boss and your work environment, obviously I want you to be safe and protected, but I want you to advocate, but obviously I want you to do that with discretion. The second sign that your voice may be diminished or that you're not speaking up is you no longer feel challenged. So number one was your voice feels smaller, but here you've recognized that you no longer feel challenged. And here's the sign. The work now feels too easy. It feels very mundane and routine. You could almost do it with your eyes closed. You no longer feel stretched or inspired. And truthfully, in your role, maybe your growth has plateaued. There's no next step for you to be able to go into. Now, here's a reflection. Where are you in your current role or current situation playing it safe? Want you to think about what is one thing that scares you but also excites you in the same at the same time with the role. Okay? So where is it that you're playing it safe, holding back possibly, right? Not wanting to rock the boat. But then also I want you to think about what is the one thing that scares you, but also excites you about your current role or space that you're in. And the action that I have for you of the you no longer feeling challenged is I want you to lean into that discomfort, that uncomfortability by taking one bold step towards something that might challenge you. And the third sign that, you know, you might have outgrown the space is your spirit feels stifled. Now, the sign is there's a restless energy that you can't ignore. So it's in your heart that it's time for more, that it's time to stretch. I believe in a previous episode we talked about that caterpillar that's in the cocoon that's ready to emerge to be that butterfly. You just feel stifled as though things are tight around you, that you're ready to expand those wings and get out. So here's the reflection. Where am I resisting growth because it feels uncomfortable? What is the bigger space that you know is calling you forward, but comfortability is allowing you to sink back, right? So the action from that is I want you to say yes to the next opportunity that comes to you. Or how about this? Yes to the opportunity that has been tugging at your spirit, even if it feels too big to where you are now. Now, um, I have a bonus for you guys. So I know we talked about the three signs that you might have outgrown your space, which is your voice feels smaller, you no longer feel challenged, and your spirit feels stifled. Well, here's the bonus. I want you to actually allow yourself to dream, to journal, to vision, and I want you to define your bigger space. So now that you've identified all of the signs of, you might being outgrown for your space, I want you to take it one step further and visualize what does this bigger space look like? Where do you want to be? I want you to plan what is one action that you can take that moves you forward to this. But then lastly, what I really want you to do is commit. What will you do this week to stop shrinking and step into the dreams, the passions, the goals that you have for yourself? Okay. So I know that feels like a whole lot, but guess what? The challenge is everything we talked about. Where are you shrinking? What space is calling you forward? And obviously the challenge is the bonus. Take one bold step this week to get you closer to the space where you want to be. Speak up in that meeting, apply for the opportunity, put yourself out there on LinkedIn, right? Reach out to that recruiter. Have a conversation with the person that you know you've been avoiding, right? Don't just leap, just move. You don't have to make it big. Just move forward. Hopefully, you've learned that we are just here to create some momentum, right? Now, if this message has resonated with you, here's what I love you to do. For me, take that bold leap and share it with someone. Share it with someone that is ready to step into their next season. Subscribe to the podcast just in case you don't miss out. And obviously, at the end of the day, you know the website, emmanuelgeorge.com. If there's anything that I can do to support you and help you, just know this is just the beginning. I want you to stop shrinking. I want you to step boldly into the future. And more importantly, there's a bigger space that's waiting for you if you just make the first move. So, all right, guys, just want to be the push to get you to move forward. And just know that you are here and you can do this. And I'm right here beside you. But most importantly, as always, guys, I love you much.